Hello, everyone. My name is Kishone Roy, and I am Executive Director of the Federation of Community Social Services of BC. I'm really honored to speak with you all here and to share the stage with such a brilliant and diverse range of housing experts, activists, and thought leaders. I also want to express my gratitude to everybody who's tuning in online from across Canada, because I think we are at a very important moment in our country. Housing, for the first time I can remember, is becoming the #1 issue in the nation. Now, here in Pacific Canada, that's been the case for a long time. But I remember 10 years ago when I would use the word crisis to describe what was going on in housing. It would be reported with quotes around it as if it was a theory, not quite a fact. That was 10 years ago. But 5 years later, I wrote a book called Make Housing Central about the affordable housing crisis in BC. Nobody used quotes anymore. It was the #1 issue here in the province. And governments began reacting with a wave of promises, investments, and policy changes. So I think that was a turning point in this region of the country, and that we are approaching that point nationally, which is necessary, because not one province or city or First Nation or regional district can solve this alone. Now, I'm 46 years old, and I have 2 theories that I want to share with you tonight. One that people younger than me may identify with, and one that people older than me may remember. For my kids who are in university and their classmates, they've grown up in a Canada where most people who are born or raised or educated in a community reach an age where they no longer feel welcome. As soon as they become working age adults, they look around and there are no affordable housing options for them. Worse yet, the wages for local jobs are no longer enough to pay the rent here, and the cost of buying has increased so much over their lifetimes that only those who have family wealth can afford to be able to stay in their home community. So when these young people look around their neighborhood for living options, they see that most of what's been built over the past 30 years are mansions, which used to be smaller detached homes, and essentially penthouses. Nothing that has been built for the incomes of local residents, and certainly not for our own children. And so when a neighborhood develops in such a way that it prices out a group of established residents, traditionally that's called gentrification. So my first theory is that there is a generational gentrification occurring in neighborhoods across Canada, where young people are being priced out of their own hometowns. Statistically, I know it's true because there's a pile of evidence showing in Canada's biggest cities that we are losing our most valuable and precious asset, our young people, in droves. And in Vancouver, youth homelessness is up 32% in the past 3 years. And students who have to rent from what's currently on the market are now paying higher average rents than adults. Think about that. In our society, the people in their lowest earning years are paying the highest housing costs. What is equitable about that? And I wonder, what is the future for any community that doesn't welcome its own children? See, I'm old enough to remember a Canada without mass homelessness. And I hope I'm young enough to get to see that Canada again. And I hope my kids get to see that Canada. But it will only happen if we understand that for each and every person, housing is a right. Without housing, how can anybody maintain their health or access social services or a job or any of the things that support life and prevent harm? The mix of healthcare, housing, and social services We call that our social safety net. My second theory is that that is what is deteriorating rapidly, and this housing crisis is a central reason why. People older than me may remember a Canada where our social safety net guaranteed a certain standard of living. But we have lowered our standards to the point where the fastest growing demographic of people who are homeless are seniors. I don't know what a modern social safety net looks like. I would very much like to know. I think that's the research we should be doing. But I do know from living in this land across this whole country that we can do a lot better than this. In the words of the poet Shane Koizen, our social safety net has holes in it the shape of people. That means residents of Canada are not being offered the essentials of life that they have a legal right to. So I have come to believe that homelessness is indeed a crime, and that the victims of that crime are the people who are sleeping outside, because we've organized ourselves in such a way that denies our neighbors what they are guaranteed in law under the Charter, and we have organized our neighborhoods in such a way that denies our children a chance to build lives in the same community as their friends and family, and we have organized our policy in a way that has snipped our social safety net into pieces. And it's going to take a long time to build our way out of this. It's going to take funding and zoning and policy changes, long-term planning and emergency support now. But most importantly, it's going to take a generation of Canadians of all ages to both imagine a better future and remember our values of the past before we lose it. And if we do, we won't just be building housing and we won't just be mending our social safety net. I think it's possible that in every neighborhood in the land, we will be establishing the foundation of a country we are proud to pass on to future generations, something worthy of our children and something welcoming for them. Thank you.